what if I don't understand it all the time? What's your answer to that?
The answer is you're not going to understand it all the first time. None of us has.
Hey, welcome to Miss Melodie's Training Tips. Today's question of the day is, what if I don't understand it all the first time? A lot of students come to us asking this question. What if I don't understand it? I'm brand new. We actually have a student who left a review for us. I'm going to read this as it is. I am a new student here at New Horizons Learning Group and have no computer knowledge. I seriously thought I would have not been able to comprehend or understand. But the way Melodie teaches is so unique to me. I don't know how to explain it, but when I start taking the tests, it's like I can hear her positively calming voice in my head. And now I feel very confident, and even when I don't feel it. So I left that quote as it is, didn't fix any of the typos or grammar errors, so you know it's real. That is from a student that came to us with New Horizons Career Development Solutions. And what if you don't understand it all the time? And the person that was, the instructor that was in that quote was Miss Melodie, who we have with us today on the first episode of Miss Melodie's Training Tips. So seeing as students love what you're doing and can hear your voice in your head, can you share with our listening audience that beautiful voice of yours and let us all feel the calmness of your presence when we ask the question, what if I don't understand it all the time? What's your answer to that?
The answer is you're not going to understand it all the first time. None of us has. And so taking a big step and just acknowledging that you don't get it all the first time is huge. And you didn't get it all the first time you played the piano, or the first time you played football, or the first time you did math. It's a process. And so one of the things I think as adult learners need to just acknowledge that they're not going to get it all, and just trust me. I've done this a long time, and there are steps to how you go about it. The average person usually needs to go over something at least 3 times before a light bulb goes off in their head and they get it.
No, you're telling me I'm not going to learn everything the first time? You've got to be kidding me.
No, you're not. And you are setting yourself up for some discouragement and perhaps even failure if you think that you will. So I would say that the first thing, that if you are brand new, that you need to recognize that you're not going to get it all, and treat your first pass as a discovery pass. And recognize that you don't know it all, and you are just trying to get the big concepts of what is happening right now. And some of that's just I would consider it a discovery process.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about what you mean by discovery? How does one discover? Who am I discovering with? What are the things that are involved with really jumping into a class and discovering for the first time?
Well, and again, it depends a lot on what your background is. I'm pretty sure that comment that we had earlier was from a gentleman that had been in construction his entire life, and now he actually wants to become a policeman. But they told him that the police industry is so computerized now that he needed basic computer skills before he could even go to the police academy. And so that's kind of where he was at. And there's a little quote out there that you really don't know what you don't know. And that is the truth as to what you are doing in computers, especially if you're coming from an industry that is non-corporate. If you're coming from more of a skill industry like construction, or an office or a factory job or something like that, you have to recognize that you don't know what you don't know. And so you are just...
So how do you do it? How did he discover, coming from an industry that is not computer heavy or reliant, and learning the computer and IT and how it works?
I think the best way, and he was really nervous at first, but again, he laughed. It's funny that he talked about calming. You almost have to just step back and be a sponge and say that I don't know this, but I'm willing to discover what possibly could be used for this. And it's not just a discovery process with me as the instructor, but you can learn from your fellow students too. And I love having classes that have multiple levels in them, because when you have these really new students and you also have some more experienced students, I love to have them share their stories of what they would use this for. And so when they get super excited about, oh my goodness, this is going to save me hours and hours of time. If you're a brand new student, just make a mental note about this and say, goodness, not only is the teacher saying that this is something I will use in the office, but here's other students saying that, hey, this will save you hours and hours of time. So you're kind of discovering when those things happen, those are things that you want to write down in your notebook and revisit again to make sure that you don't just discover this exists, but you also go back and get a better understanding of it when you go through it the second time.
How have you discovered with students? Have you ever participated and seen firsthand their kind of light bulb moments upon discovery? I'm sure that there are some fun stories that you have in the classroom.
I do. I actually, one that I love to tell all of my students, and this was years ago. I had a lady in my class who knew she was an accountant and she didn't want to be in the class. And so I can still even picture what she was wearing. And we were doing Excel, and it sounds so very basic. Sometimes when you are in a job and you get thrown into it, you can make things work, but you're not making them work the most efficiently. And that's where over and over I see in my evaluation students saying, I should have had this class years ago. I could have saved myself hours and hours of time. I would have been less frustrated. So I see those comments over and over. But this lady, Excel has, it's a workbook program, and it has sheets in it, so that there are individual sheets for individual products, individual months, individual salespeople, however you want to set it up. But they're named sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and sheet 4. Well, she inherited this spreadsheet, and no one had ever showed her how to name her sheets. And so I remember showing them how to name their sheets, and I thought this lady was going to cry. She was so excited. Apparently, she had actually had a chart up on her wall in her cubicle that said sheet 10 is Philadelphia, sheet 15 is Chicago. And that boggles my mind that somebody would have done it that way when all you had to do was double click on them and give them a name. But you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. That's the discovery for the first time, that you don't know. As soon as you get that sheet, you're going, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just going to play with it as is. That could be what the computer is for many people, where it's like, I've seen this around offices, I've seen this in public, I've seen, my nieces or nephews use the computer and clicking around and everything, and for the first time coming up to it, you don't know what you don't know. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about discovery in the first phases as a new student as we wrap up?
No, again, just being willing to be open and a sponge. Maybe I can finish with another funny story here for
Yeah.
you. In Microsoft Word, and I always get people who say, oh yeah, I've done that. It's like you're typing a document and you need a page break. And so what people do, instead of actually putting a page break in, is they hit enter, enter, enter until they get a page break. But that's so self-defeating, because if you have a very long document and you go back and edit it, then those page breaks are still in there and you have to go back to your document and re-edit it. So I had a principal from a school district in my class, and not only had he done that where he put enter, enter, enter in for page breaks, but he didn't know how to put page numbers in. So what he did was he manually typed page numbers and would center them in the page. And he was in charge of some big project for a school district in Indiana, a large school district. And he said his document was like 100 pages long. and every school sent him information. Well, you know what's going to happen when you go to edit that. Everyone changes their stuff. And so now you have a principal who's making a large amount of money, spending hours going through this long document, taking out extra hard returns so the page breaks are in the right place. And if he had known how to put a page break in and put page numbers in, I can't even fathom the number of hours he would have saved himself.
Oh yeah, that's money lost right there.
Money
I
lost.
think letting yourself dive into discovery and telling yourself that you're not going to know everything the first time. There are things that you don't know is very key to even just starting to advance in your knowledge, in your proficiency of a tool, in your career even. There are things that I still don't know about my career. There are things that we all don't know about our own careers. And so the more we learn, the more that we can advance and develop our careers. So I want to tease the next episode of Miss Melodie's Training Tips. We're going to be talking about being nervous, being back in a classroom. Sometimes school isn't traditionally for everybody. How do you overcome being nervous about being back in the classroom? And if you want to get any information about our career development training programs, just go to careerdevelopmentsolutions.com.